Hello again, everyone. It's Todd Staruch, the horror nerd, here at New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival at the New Jersey Expo Center in Edison, New Jersey. It's the last day of the convention. We have had a blast this weekend. It has been such a fun show, and it is about to get better for me because I have the honor of standing here with the legendary Mr. Clint Howard. Clint, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for those kind words.
Oh, and I mean it too. I mean, the word legend gets thrown around a lot, but I mean it though, because just so many iconic roles and just your name, you know.
I've been doing it a long time, so I appreciate that. But listen, I just, I was born into an acting family and kind of learned what to do before I knew what I was doing, and I just keep continuing on. So that means I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not sure any of us really do. You know, we just try to get through a day sometimes, right? So, Clint, I watched your panel, and there were some great insights, and I have to admit, I didn't realize that you had written a book with your brother.
Yeah.
You know, so let's talk about that for a minute. If you could just share some info about the book.
Well, a couple of years ago, Ron and I, it was right in the middle of COVID, we wrote a book, a memoir called The Boys, a memoir of Hollywood and family. And it was just simply about us growing up in show business and the fact that we had such a great set of parents that helped navigate us through, very tricky waters. So we wrote the book, very proud of it. Ron and I are both very proud of it. New York Times bestseller for a month, and it's available in paperback now, of course, a hardcover and audiobook. And the audiobook is good because Ron speaks his words and I speak mine. So that's
cool.
That's a treat for people.
I am going to check that out. My to-read list is about that high.
Yeah.
But audiobooks, when I'm on the road, I got into audiobooks, so I'm going to have to check that out.
It's perfect for that.
Exactly. So I am such a huge Star Trek fan, so... Oh, okay. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change the question based on current circumstances. To just say it was great to see you show up again on a recent episode of a show that I like. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Well, listen, and I certainly appreciate being part of the Star Trek universe. It certainly is, and having worked on Strange New Worlds. I worked on it over a year ago. And just their workflow was such to where it just recently got into the pipeline. And like I said, I'm very proud to be part of the universe. And a fellow named Akiva Goldsman, who was one of the executive producers of the show, he was the one that sort of invited me on. He was also one of the main people on Discovery. I've worked in 5 different Star Trek series. I was in the original TV series. I was in Deep Space Nine. I was in Enterprise. I was in Discovery, and now I'm in Strange New Worlds.
Yep. That is awesome. Yep. And I remember you from that early episode of the original series because that still remains my favorite.
And it was amazing back in 1965, 1966 that they had the foresight to do something like the Corbomite maneuver. And also, I was playing a 600-year-old alien, and yet they wanted to hire a child. And of course, they dubbed my voice, and I knew they were going to do that. That was not, there was no issue. So, but it was a wonderful insight from those people. They were way ahead of their time.
Absolutely.
That's the understatement of all time to say that the Star Trek people were ahead of their time.
So, Clint, you mentioned, growing up in an acting family.
Did I mention that?
You might have. There must have been some challenges there. So did you get bit with the acting bug? I don't quite know how to phrase it, but on your own? Or was being around it all the time said, I think this is something that I want to follow in?
Well, I began doing it before I knew what I was doing. I mean, I started acting when I was 2, and I really kind of developed my acting skills, if you're going to call them skills, by osmosis. I certainly have never had any formal training. Our dad, Rance Howard, who was brilliant, he was like we wrote in the book, he was like a child actor whisperer, and Dad taught the simple fundamentals on how to be a communicator, on how to, not how to act, but how to portray characters. And it was, he gave it to us in a way that we could really understand it. And still to this day, as an actor, I will use the lessons that Dad gave me when I was 4 and 5 years old. I still use them to this day as a touchstone to my craft.
That's cool. That's a good insight. My dad is a mechanic by trade, and I am an IT specialist, yet I learn stuff from him all the time, just like how to solve problems.
Oh, yeah.
So I can relate on that level.
Listen, the previous generation has a lot to offer, and I know it wasn't just my dad, but it was colleagues of my dad. And in fact, later on in my life, it was older neighbors that handed me wonderful little insights that they had learned over the years. Pride of ownership. Pride of ownership is a basic kind of fundamental concept. If you have something that you own, well, my God, it's a gift. Take care of it. Cherish it. And so, I try to keep that in mind.
Fantastic.
Yeah, cool.
So, Clint, one last question. You've had so many different roles across so many different genres. Do you have a personal favorite?
Well, yes, I do. And that's really easy for me, and that's being a part of the film Apollo 13. I was a space junkie when I was a kid. I had a model of the Saturn V rocket in my room, and I wanted to be an astronaut, either an astronaut or a professional athlete when I was a child. At the time, I really didn't want to be an actress so much. It was either an astronaut or an athlete. But later on in my life, getting to portray a flight controller on something as serious as this mission Apollo 13, and to be a part of the filming of it was something that I will have with me as a wonderful badge of honor for the rest of my life. And also, too, and I don't want to short sell this, I am so proud of my brother. My big brother is a good dude, and he's also, he's a great big brother. He's a great filmmaker, and I know the guy that made Apollo 13, and it's a superior film. Apollo 13 goes on my list of 5 great movies. I have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I have All That Jazz. I've got The Exorcist. I've got, oh my God, I'm brain locking now. And of course, Apollo 13. Shoot, I do have 5.
You did. You said it in the panel, and I can't remember it either. I can't remember it either.
Anyway, but I'm very proud of my brother, and I'm proud to have participated in Apollo 13. I'm proud of most of the work I've done in the business. I mean, I thought that Austin Powers was a superior trilogy of movies.
It is. They're good. They're good.
And getting to be a part of that was something that I'm also proud of, and like I said, it's just I'm very grateful for my career, and hopefully, not hopefully, I'm continuing on. I just about a year and a half ago, I worked on a film with Nick Cage called The Old Way that came out in theaters last year, and it's a streamer now. People can see it on their local streaming channels, and that was a recent work that I did. So, I keep motoring along.
Good for you. Busy is good.
Yeah, busy.
Long career is good.
Yes, busy is good. Long career is good, and I can rest later.
Clint, one last question. If you could give one bit of advice to a young, up-and-coming actor or actress trying to break into the business, what would that advice be?
Oh, it would be to stick with it, to understand that it's not a 2 or 3 year journey into the industry, that if you really want to make a run at being in the entertainment business, you've got to give yourself a decade. You've got to give yourself a decade, and you also have to learn to be very frugal. You got to compromise and sacrifice things. You don't compromise, but you have to sacrifice things. You have to, like I said, live frugally, because after 2 or 3 years in the business, you're not going to really know what you're doing. You got to give yourself a good long period of time to try to build the contacts, to sort of learn how the business works. And it's a business. You got to understand it's show business, and it can be rough and tumble, but it's certainly been good to the Howard family.
For sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Clint, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time.
Oh, no, thank you.
It truly was a pleasure to get to spend this time with you, and I appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Clint Howard here at a New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival at the Expo Center in Edison, New Jersey. This is Todd Stewart, the Horror Nerd, signing off. We will see all of you in the next interview.